The morning sun glowed over the city of Lagos, pouring golden light through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Thomas mansion. Outside, decorators in matching Ankara uniforms moved briskly, arranging flowers, draping satin ribbons, and setting up rows of elegant white chairs. The air smelled of roses, champagne, and quiet excitement. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of Helen Thomas's life, her wedding. She stood in front of the mirror in her lace wedding gown, delicate veil pinned into her curls, her smile trembling between joy and disbelief. "I still can't believe it's finally happening," she whispered to her reflection.
Behind her, Clara, her older sister by just 2 years, forced a smile. "It's beautiful, Ama," she murmured. "You look perfect." Her voice cracked on the last word, though Helen didn't notice. Inside Clara's chest, something twisted. That burning, familiar ache she tried to bury for years was back. Jealousy. It was sharp, poisonous, and humiliating. Everyone adored Helen, the radiant, gentle, endlessly loved younger sister, the one who always got attention without trying, the one who had stolen the heart of Daniel Martins, the man Clara once believed would be hers.
By 10 a.m., the Thomas mansion buzzed with activity. Makeup artists brushed powder over glowing faces, stylists adjusted gele, and laughter filled the corridors. Yet, under the surface, the air was tense, charged like the pause before a thunderstorm. Clara moved through the house like a ghost in silk. Her own dress, a fitted emerald gown, clung beautifully to her figure. But every compliment she received only deepened her bitterness. "Clara, you're glowing!" Auntie Felicia exclaimed. She smiled. "Thank you, Ma." But she wasn't glowing, she was burning. She slipped out to the garden where Daniel stood talking to his groomsmen. He looked handsome in his crisp ivory suit, the kind of man who drew eyes without trying. When he saw her, he smiled politely. "Clara, you look stunning."
Her heart leapt. "Thank you," she said softly. "You clean up pretty well yourself." He chuckled, looking slightly uneasy. There was history in his eyes, unspoken, dangerous history. "Daniel," she whispered, stepping closer, "do you ever think about, us?" He blinked. "Clara, that was a long time ago. You know I love Helen." Her smile froze. "Of course," she said, "just asking." But something in his tone, a flicker of guilt, made her pulse quicken. She knew it. He did remember. And if she couldn't have him, neither would Helen. At noon, the wedding guests began arriving at the grand church in Ikoyi. Rows of sleek cars lined the street, photographers snapping away, ushers guiding elegantly dressed guests into the decorated hall. Helen's heart raced as she waited inside the bridal car, clutching her bouquet. Her mother dabbed her eyes with a handkerchief. "My daughter," she whispered, "God has blessed you." Clara, seated beside her, smiled faintly. "Yes, Mama, God has really blessed her." But her phone, hidden in her clutch, buzzed with a message that made her pulse race. From an unknown number. "If people knew what Daniel did last year, this wedding wouldn't happen. Check your email." Her heart pounded. She opened her email app. Attached was a set of photos. Grainy, late-night pictures of Daniel entering a hotel with a woman who looked suspiciously like Helen's bridesmaid, Lydia. Clara's breath caught. What is this? For a moment, she hesitated. It could be fake. It could ruin everything. But then she thought of Daniel's smile, of how he'd chosen Helen, of the years she'd spent in her sister's shadow. She stared at the pictures again, whether real or not. They were her weapon.
By the time the bridal car pulled up at the church, Clara had already forwarded the images to herself, to Lydia, and to Helen's phone.
The ceremony began perfectly. The choir's harmonies filled the air, and the congregation rose as Helen walked down the aisle, glowing like sunlight in silk. Daniel's eyes softened when he saw her. Everything looked perfect, until Helen's phone, tucked secretly into her maid of honor's purse, began to buzz. She glanced at it briefly when the officiating pastor paused. The message preview froze her breath. From Clara. You deserve to know who your husband really is. Attached were the photos. Her heart stopped. In an instant, the air around her thinned. Daniel reached for her hand, but she snatched it away. Her eyes darted to Lydia, her bridesmaid, whose face had gone pale. Helen, Daniel whispered. What's wrong? But she didn't answer. Instead, she stepped back, trembling. How could you? She hissed. The pastor's voice faltered. The hall buzzed with confusion. Cameras clicked. Helen, her mother whispered. Tears spilled down Helen's cheeks. He cheated on me with her. She pointed at Lydia. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lydia shook her head violently. No, it's not true. I swear. Daniel grabbed her arm. Helen, please, calm down. It's not what it looks like. But she pulled away, sobbing. Don't touch me. Guests began murmuring. Phones came out. In seconds, the video was live on social media. From the third row, Clara watched, her face expressionless. Inside, her heart pounded with a twisted satisfaction and a sudden rush of fear. She hadn't expected it to explode this fast. The wedding dissolved into chaos. The bride stormed out, the groom chased after her, and guests whispered furiously. Outside, reporters were already gathering, drawn by the drama. Clara slipped out quietly, pretending to help. She found Helen crying beside the parked car, her veil crumpled in her hands. Helen, she said softly, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to find out this way. Helen looked up, eyes red. You knew! Clara hesitated, letting a tear fall. I saw the photos this morning. I thought you should know. Helen threw her arms around her, sobbing. Why would he do this to me, Clara? I loved him. Clara hugged her tightly, a bitter satisfaction hidden beneath her sympathy. But Daniel's voice cut through the moment. Clara! He was furious. What did you do? What are you talking about? She said coolly. He thrust his phone in her face. The message came from your email. I know it was you. Gasps erupted from nearby guests. Helen froze, stepping back. Clara! Her face went pale. No, I swear. I only forwarded what I saw. Someone sent it to me first. Daniel's voice rose. You sent it to the media. It's all over Instagram. He turned his screen toward her. The trending hashtag Thomas Wedding Scandal. Clara's stomach dropped. It was over. By evening, the video had gone viral. Every gossip blog, every influencer, every WhatsApp group was talking about the wedding that fell apart before the vows. Helen locked herself in her room, refusing to speak to anyone. Daniel's family threatened lawsuits. Lydia fled Lagos altogether. And Clara sat alone in her apartment, her phone buzzing non-stop. Clara, what have you done? Her mother's message read. You've destroyed your sister's life. Are you happy now? She tossed the phone aside, pacing. It wasn't supposed to go this far, she whispered. But deep down, she knew it was her fault. Days later, the truth came out. The photos had been doctored, sent by an ex-employee of Daniel's who had a grudge. Clara's impulsive decision had done what no enemy could, destroyed her sister's love, her family's reputation, and her own name. Her job fired her. Friends stopped answering calls. At church, people whispered behind her back.
And Helen, she moved out of the city, refusing to ever see Clara again.
6 months later, the once beautiful Clara Thomas sat alone in a dim bar in Silvercrest, her eyes hollow, her once glossy hair dull. The tabloids had moved on, but the shame remained. She'd lost everything. One night, she opened Instagram and saw a post that shattered her. Helen, smiling again, in London, standing beside Daniel. The caption read, "Healing takes time, but love finds a way." They had reconciled. Clara's throat tightened, her vision blurred. The world moved on, but she couldn't.
When she went home that night, she found the old wedding invitation on her table, the one she had once stared at with envy. The golden letters read, "The Union of Helen Thomas and Daniel Martins." She tore it apart, sobbing, "I just wanted to be seen," she whispered, "just once." The next morning, neighbors found her unconscious, the bottle of sleeping pills still open on the table. Helen attended the funeral quietly. She stood by the grave, tears sliding silently down her cheeks. Despite everything, Clara had been her sister. The girl who once braided her hair, shared secrets, and laughed under the mango tree behind their childhood home. As the priest prayed, Helen whispered, "You didn't have to destroy yourself to be seen, Clara. You already were." A cool breeze swept through the cemetery. Somewhere in the rustle of leaves, it almost sounded like a sigh. And then, silence. What kind of punishment do you think Clara deserves? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next story.